Telegraph Office, September 17, 1862. Lincoln awaits the message from the dispatcher during the Battle of Antietam.
General McClellan, battle fierce at Sharpsburg. Confederate center pierced. Union pushes over Antietam Creek. Hill's division aids to thee at Harper's Ferry. Confederates retreat from Maryland.
This is the sign I have awaited, and the sure course I must follow. Where's my mic on?
The White House Office, September 22, 1862. Lincoln meets with his cabinet to announce the issuing of the Emancipation Proclamation.
Gentlemen, I want to share with you an excerpt from a book that was sent to me by its author, Artemis Ward. This selection is called High-Handed Outrage at Utica. In the fall of 1856, I showed my show in Utica, a truly great city in the state of New York. The people gave me a cordial reception. The press was loud in their praises. One day, as I was given a description of my beasts and snakes in my usual flowery style, what was my scorn and disgust to see a big burly feller walk up to the cage containing my wax figures of the Lord's Supper and seize Judas Iscariot by the feet and drag him out on the ground. He then commenced for to pound him as hard as he could. "What under the sun are you about?" cried I. Says he, "What did you bring this pusillanimous cuss here for?" And he hit the wax figure another tremendous blow on the head. Says I, "You egregious arse, that here's a wax figure, a representation of the false apostle." Says he, "That's all very well for you to say, but I tell you, old man, that Judas Iscariot can't show himself in Utica with impunity by a darn sight." The young man belonged to one of the first families in Utica. I sued him, and the jury brought in the verdict of arson in the 3rd degree.
Gentlemen, you know my intent and the reasons for my delay. I have been awaiting the sign from the Almighty, and have pledged, when I know His will, I will do it. We could not issue the proclamation until we had a better showing on the battlefield. I believe the time has come now. I wish it were a better time. I wish we were in a better condition. But now I can redeem the promise I made to myself and my Maker. I have determined to issue the proclamation this 100 days before the first of next year. I am willing to accept any criticisms of any expression used or any other minor matter. I know very well, it is my intention to continue to promote, support, and promote compensation to slave owners who emancipate their slaves. I would also like to promote colonization of the black race outside the country. I am certain of the expediency of this document to be promoted, and I have my own doubts about its success. I know very well that many others in this matter, as well as others, might do better than I can. And if I were satisfied that the public confidence was more fully possessed by any one of them than me, he should have it. I would gladly yield it to him. Since, however, this is not possible, I must do the best I can and bear the responsibility of taking the course I feel I ought to take.
Might I suggest making these small changes here and here?
Checks. Right, lady.
The proclamation does not indeed mark out the course I myself would prefer, but I'm ready to take it as written and stand by it with all my heart.
I must oppose this proclamation just on the ground will sorely influence the border states and their armies. And it will, could very likely strengthen the Democrats in the fall elections. And that's all.
Yes, Judge, I had considered the first of these dangers and discounted. As for the second, it has not much weight with me. Governor, will you see that this gets signed and published?
Yes, President Lincoln.
Any questions in the house slides? You can wait and turn these up after Lindsay and I get down here. Okay. After we get down here and then turn them up. Because they don't need to see us stumble down.
President Lincoln, seated in his office in the late fall of 1862 and mulling over the voices of dissent over the Emancipation Proclamation, the war, Indian uprisings, and other pressing matters, and answering his critics. The voice of General Pope.
He now wants me to, and I must, accept his side of Indian uprising. But I am outraged at the President's feeble, cowardly, and shameful failure to defend me from my critics. There will be a general Indian war all along the frontier unless immediate steps are taken to put a stop to it. It is my purpose utterly to exterminate the Sioux if I have the power to do so.
The voice of Episcopal Bishop Henry B. Whipple.
What we have done to the Native people's way of life is unforgivable. I hope and pray to somehow begin a new policy of peace and honesty with this wrong race of people.
The voice of, I believe that person was supposed to say a new policy of honesty. No. Okay, we'll just go on. The voice of Minnesota Governor Alexander Ramsey.
The Sioux are assassins and ravagers of wives, sisters, and daughters. The state of Minnesota will not tolerate their presence in any number, in any condition.
The voice of the War Report.
350 whites have been massacred, and 303 Sioux men are condemned to die.
The voice of Minnesota Senator Morton S. Wilkinson.
Either the Indians must be punished according to law, or they will die murdered without law.
39 of the worst Sioux offenders will die.
The voice of Governor Ramsey.
If you had hanged more Indians, you would have larger majority of congressmen.
I could not afford to hang men for votes.
Voices all around.
That's just the title.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Where it says narrate.
I apologize. The voice of the Republicans from the left.
Will the President go back on his promise to issue the final proclamation on January 1st? He must commit to a radical program. He appointed General Burnside instead of General Hooker. This is not a good sign.
The voice of the border state congressman and the South.
Speak peace again on the old terms of the Constitution of the United States. What will you give us in return? Payment for loyal slaves and rightful seats in Congress?
Oh, I'm supposed to speak here, aren't I? I'm thinking about the sound people back there, because they're not running the sound. Something's not happening back there. Who's back there on the sound? Nobody on sound back there?
We just did 7.
Sounds all right out here.
Okay.
Hey.
The proclamation will not free a single Negro beyond our military reach. There was a case where a lawyer tried to establish that a calf had 5 legs by calling the tail a leg. But the decision of the judge was that calling the tail a leg did not make it a leg. And the calf had 4 legs after all. So proclaiming slaves to be free does not make them free. But I will attempt to pull this country back together again if compensated emancipation is what it takes.
Burnside's blunder across the Potomac into Fredericksburg on December 13th brings defeat and disdain for the Lincoln administration.
Yes.
We need the next track of the,
She didn't say the voice of the Chicago Tribune.
Am I supposed to say? Well, but I'm there, okay. All right, my fault, I apologize. Okay, voice of the Chicago Tribune.
Failure of the Army, weight of taxes, depreciation of money, want of cotton, increasing national debt, deaths in the Army, no prospect of success, the continued closure of the Mississippi River, all combine to produce the existing state of despondency and desperation. The war is drawing toward a disastrous and disgraceful termination.
Voice of Senator Grimes.
Lincoln is only a toe string of a president who had to be propped up with strong, sturdy rods in the shape of cabinet ministers.
Voice of Joseph Medill, Chicago Tribune.
Seward must be got out of the cabinet. He is Lincoln's evil genius. He has been president de facto and has kept a sponge saturated with chloroform under Uncle Abe's nose.
Voice of Jacob Colomer.
The president has no cabinet in the true sense of the word.
Voice of Secretary Chase to the radical anti-slavery wing of Lincoln's party.
There is a backstairs influence which often controls the apparent conclusion of the cabinet.
Voice of the radical anti-slavery wing of Lincoln's party.
Smith is nothing but a dough-face, and Bates is a fossil of the Solarian era. But Seward never had his heart in the war. He tried to negotiate with Confederate envoys during the secession crisis. He opposed making a stand at Fort Sumter. He has been McClellan's principal defender. He opposed and then delayed the issuance of the Emancipation Proclamation. He and Thurlow Weed undermined the candidacy of Radical General Wadsworth for governor of New York.
Voice of Secretary of State Seward.
They may do as they please about me, but they shall not put the president in a false position on my account. I hereby resign the office of Secretary of State of the United States and have the honor that this resignation be immediately accepted.
Voice of Secretary of Treasury Salmon P. Chase.
I also will resign the treasury.
here are my letters, gentlemen, of the radical anti-slavery wing to McClellan, which I will read to you, detailing that we continue to sustain him to the best of our powers. In the end, his desire not to move could no longer be tolerated by this government. As for Seward and Chase, I will not accept their resignations. They remind me of how I used to carry 2 pumpkins on horseback, one in each end of the bag to balance one another. I can ride